Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Police have charged 2 men over an aggravated armed robbery that occurred at the Foreshore Tavern in Lauderdale last week. A man was allegedly held at gunpoint and had his wrists tied during a terrifying attack. Our reporter Elizabeth O'Neill is at the Launceston Airport where one of the arrests was made. Good evening, Elizabeth. What do we know so far?
Well, Joe, a 33-year-old man from Midway Point was arrested at Launceston Airport yesterday after attempting to board a plane to Melbourne. It's alleged that he was trying to leave the state under a false name with cash stolen during last week's robbery. He's been charged with a string of offences, including aggravated robbery and aggravated burglary. A 41-year-old man has also been arrested over the weekend. The man was in possession of a sawn-off shotgun that police believe was the firearm in the robbery. Both men have been detained and will face court tomorrow morning. Joe?
OK, thanks Elizabeth for that report. Elizabeth O'Neill joining us there. 3 people are awaiting test results for coronavirus in Tasmania tonight as health workers remain vigilant for any sign of the outbreak here. As a border shutdown comes into force, there's hopes our state has escaped, but the restrictions are starting to bite the tourism industry.
It's an illness putting the world on edge. The flow-on effects of coronavirus felt far and wide, including on the tourism sector here in Tasmania.
We did see a bit of a softer Chinese New Year here generally, and with half of our visitors from China coming during this quarter, I think we can expect some impact.
14% of all international visitors to Tasmania last year came from China, but experts are confident the industry will remain strong despite a travel ban restricting visitors from China.
It's going to be a difficult year, more difficult, but we've got a lot of activity planned that's going to stimulate the market.
Today, 3 more people in Tasmania are being tested for the virus. They all remain in isolation in line with protocol while they await test results. Authorities said health risks for Tasmanians are low, but hospitals remain on standby to deal with any potential cases.
The system has been working well to ensure that from a public health perspective that all bases are covered, that our hospitals and general practitioners and community pharmacies are all prepared.
Labor's received a briefing from Health Department officials today on the coronavirus, and we're satisfied that everything the government needs to be doing is occurring.
We've now got a special effort working between all of the departments so that we've got the best brains in Tasmania all collectively working for our state's interests.
A helpline has been established for people with concerns or questions. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian youth charged with the murder of a Taroona father has faced the Hobart Supreme Court for the first time. Allegedly stabbed at a Blackmans Bay petrol station in November last year. The youth, who cannot be named, appeared in court today for a directions hearing. He was remanded in custody until March. A 24-hour strike by corrections officers has caused headaches for the state's clogged court system and left only a handful guarding inmates at Risdon Prison. Staff say they're facing more assaults from prisoners who also are at risk of returning to society without rehabilitation.
Starting the week by stopping work. Fed-up prison guards didn't make it past the front gate.
We're underpaid, we're working extreme overtime because we're understaffed, and that needs to stop.
Strike action by 100 officers left Risdon Prison operating on a skeleton crew, while cancelled prisoner transports affected busy sittings in the Supreme Court.
As it stands, correctional officers doing this work are getting paid $10,000 to $15,000 less than equivalent jobs in the public sector, and it's just unacceptable.
Unions and the prison service met only yesterday to hammer out a pay deal. The breakdown in talks seemingly catching the government off guard.
I would expect and believe that the union won't be proceeding with industrial action today. If that were to change, it would be a breach of faith, and I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and not accuse them of anything.
The government has previously offered a 3-year deal, which would have seen most staff given a 10% pay bump. Some workers claim they're facing more assaults by inmates. A lack of education and services is also leaving prisoners prone to violence.
The inmates get bored, and when they become bored, one, they lash out at staff, and to get up the mischief.
Negotiations are now dragging into a second year. Another pay offer is expected to be put forward tomorrow afternoon. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
2 men have been charged over the stabbing of a man in Waverley. The victim was allegedly stabbed in the torso and remains in the Launceston General Hospital with serious injuries. It's believed the people are known to each other. A 46-year-old man from Waverley has been charged with wounding and faced court earlier today, while a 19-year-old man has been charged with common assault. He was bailed to face court next month. La Trobe's Mersey Community Hospital is back to operating as normal after patients were cleared out of the emergency department last night. Amid an equipment fault at the facility, ambulances were redirected to the Northwest Regional and Launceston General Hospitals. The Tasmanian Health Service says the decision was a precautionary measure. The fault has since been fixed. The inner workings of Tasmania's political party finances have been exposed with the release of donation disclosures today. While some contributors have been revealed, the majority of donors will remain a mystery, and some say that needs to change.
A specially made prop to emphasise a message, the Greens saying our political donation laws are a threat to democracy.
We have the weakest electoral donation laws in the country, and still we are waiting to see any sign from government that they understand the seriousness of this issue.
New data today revealed the Liberal Party received almost $3.4 million in donations last year, including $200,000 from the estate of late Attorney General Vanessa Goodwin. Labor received $1.2 million and the Greens $600,000. But we'll never know exactly where most of that money came from, parties only having to disclose the source of donations more than $13,800. In 2018, the government said it was reviewing those laws, but they're yet to change.
This has a corrosive and corrupting effect on our democracy.
That's a work in progress, and the government has already made progress in this space and will continue to take advice as required.
We would lower the disclosure limit so that everything over $1,000 needs to be declared to the public and declared straight away.
But now we'll have to wait another year for the next disclosure. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's biggest Super Bowl fans have dressed up and touched down for today's big game. Players from the state's Gridiron League may only dream of punting at one of the globe's biggest sporting events, but today they had a little piece of the adrenaline at Hobart's Queen's Head Hotel. Tasmania has 4 senior gridiron teams and is working towards entering a side in the sport's national competition. After sweltering through 40-degree heat last week, Tasmania's weather has turned to another extreme. Cradle Mountain received a light dusting of snow early this morning. The cold front treated the park's permanent residents to some fun to play in. Forecasters say summer will return with milder conditions moving across the state this week. It's back to school for Tasmanian children, and with it a reminder to be extra careful on our roads. The Love 40 campaign is urging drivers to slow down and be vigilant around schools.
Relief for parents struggling to keep their children entertained over the holidays. School is back this week and so are school zone rules, ensuring children aren't in danger on their daily commute.
I feel unsafe. I wait for Greg to say go, and when I cross, I always go in the bars. I don't go outside of the lines.
The government is urging motorists to love 40, driving at or below 40 kilometres an hour in school zones and around school buses.
The 40 kilometre per hour speed limit is a limit, not a target. We want people to know that that is the maximum speed that they're lawfully allowed to use, but they should be lower than that if that's what's required.
Harsh penalties apply for those that disobey the speed limit, including fines and loss of demerit points.
Tasmania Police does not balk at issuing penalties for people that demonstrate particularly consciously bad behaviour, but people can expect to receive an infringement notice or appear before court if they do break the law.
90,000 children are expected to return to schools across the state. With more cars and buses on our roads, there'll be a greater police presence in school zones. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian Harry Bouchier has advanced to the next round of the Launceston International after a straight sets win in today's twilight game, while another Tasmanian, Jess Fowler, was also on court after moving away from home aged 13 to chase her tennis dream. Jess Fowler faced a life-changing call when her tennis career was still in its embryonic stage. She left behind her home in St Helens, aged just 13, to pursue professional tennis.
Game and first set, Fowler.
When I was living in St Helens, I was missing every Thursday and Friday off school just to try and play tennis because I didn't have anyone up there to play tennis with.
Today, she realised one of her dreams, playing in the Launceston International. Now on the pro circuit, overseas tournaments await.
I feel really determined to make it because it was so isolated up there, but the whole community still supports me, holds fundraisers, so they're really behind me and they want me to do well.
Today's final qualifier wasn't what the 19-year-old hoped for, bowing out after a super tiebreak, but her chin's up.
From today, it's shown me that I can match it with the best. She's a very high-ranked player from Japan, and it's giving me a bit more encouragement to keep going.
In today's twilight game, fellow Tasmanian Harry Bouchier opened his campaign against Canadian Philip Pellewo. He won in straight sets 7-6, 6-2. He'll play Australian Open doubles finalist Max Purcell in the next round. And last night, Japan's Taro Daniel took out the men's singles title in the Burnie International. Well, one of the AFL's most controversial players has signed up for his first Relive the Rivalry. Dane Swan will pull on the Big V in the clash against Tasmania at Penguins Dial Park next month. The former midfielder played 258 games for Collingwood, but never here.
Looked at the history and I don't believe he's ever played football in Tasmania at all. So Collingwood's only played once or twice, I think, at UTAS, so I don't think he played in that. So this will be huge, I think.
The game raises money for Beyond Blue. Tasmanian Mare Mystic Journey will not defend her crown in the All-Star Mile. Trainer Adam Trinder has withdrawn the galloper due to her injury-plagued preparation for the big race. Last month, the stable revealed a soft tissue infection in Mystic Journey's foreleg. Trinder has told Racing Victoria the mare is still preparing for other races over autumn. And more than half of the 16 nominations for Sunday's Hobart Cup have come from interstate. Gay Waterhouse's Taikamochi and Chris Wallace Naval Warfare are among the nominations after finishing 1 and 2 in the Australia Day Cup at Warwick Farm. The Michael Trinder-trained Turek Affair will head the local hopes after taking out last weekend's Summer Cup.
Good evening. Mostly below average temperatures today. Hobart 15, Launceston 20, Burnie 17 and Devonport 18 degrees. A fairly cool day with a few showers over the west, central and south and a touch of snow. St Helens though 20 degrees, Friendly Beaches 19, Smithton, Low Head and the Islands 17, Strawn 16 today and Lyawini a top of just 6. Now from the air, and the southwesterly breeze brought speckled cloud across the state, indicating that cold pool of air right over us. Now this unstable cloud also extends to the southern coast of the mainland. Cloud trapped under a high is south of WA. Convective cloud with a low covers northern Australia, with more cloud pushing east from central areas. Tomorrow a high pressure ridge moves over the Bight as a weak front passes south of Tasmania. Low pressure troughs linger over the mainland. Winds west to southwesterly tomorrow up to 25 knots, getting a little bit more northeasterly over the east coast later at 20 knots as well, and stronger winds over the south later in the day up to 30 knots. A strong wind warning is on for the south-east coast. Now for tomorrow, Hobart partly cloudy and 21, 20 the top for Adventure Bay and 15 for Tarraleah, a bit of cloud about. Launceston sunny and 21 degrees, 20 the top for Devonport, sunny for Bridport, 18 though. The top for Burnie tomorrow, 21, a sunny day, 17 for Strawn and Merriwa in the east. In the west, now in the east, St Helens 21 along with Swansea, Whitemark a sunny day and 19 degrees. And the UV, very high 10s, but extreme for Launceston. On Wednesday, fine and mostly sunny, apart from showers over the southwest. There is the possibility of a shower or two over the east coast on Thursday, fine weather elsewhere. And on Friday, a shower over the south and east coast, mainly fine for the rest of the state. A hot day for Perth. Sunny in Adelaide and Melbourne, a cloudy 24 in Sydney, showery and 29 in Brisbane. Partly cloudy, 13 in Hobart, 16 in Launceston at the moment and 16 in Devonport. Now there's been lots of talk today about one Jo Palmer pulling the pin on her presenting position. Very sad day. Jo resigning from reading our bulletin after 18 years in the chair. Jo, couldn't have been anything I've said.
2 decades of abuse. Perhaps it was something you said, Merv. But yes, I am sad to confirm that this will be my last week here at the news desk. It's been such a remarkable 18 years sharing local news with you each evening, and I will miss you very much. But Merv still has the rest of the week to think of some awful things that he can say to me, and I'm sure he'll make the most of it.